Crypto is setting up a massive dip opportunity that has tons of people freaking out when they should be licking their lips for some of the juiciest entries into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the beloved alts. And that's because there is so much loading. From Bitcoin literally replicating the gold fractal that would take it so much higher, the incoming rate cuts that we know are going to happen at latest in early 2026, the fact that all kinds of unprofitable tech companies are rallying in the stock market, showing that the animal spirits are truly returning to more risky assets, and of course the inevitable descent of Bitcoin dominance. That's right, there is so much here, and we're finally seeing some weakness on the charts after ETH has rallied from the mid 2000s all the way up to nearly 4,000 US dollars. We have so much to talk about. As you know, I've been extremely bullish ETH and DeFi in the wake of these new regulations, and I'm here to give you my updated thesis on how I'm buying the dip, going through every single asset that I'm excited about, giving you the ultimate all-you-can-eat Vegas buffet of alpha, and all you gotta do is destroy that like button and of course subscribe with that bell notification on. Because in 2013, they said you got lucky, it's a bubble. In 2017, they said you got lucky, it's a bubble. In 2021, they said you got lucky, it's a bubble. And once again, in 2025, they're saying you're just getting lucky and it's just a bubble. Well, as they say in Vegas, better lucky than good, because I'm excited for all the luck heading our way here in crypto land. So strap in, this is going to be an absolutely crazy one. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliot. I founded multiple major protocols such as Superverse, as well as recently the Black Hole DEX on AVAX. Combined, they're worth over $1 billion, and the DEX is doing over $150 million in volume per day and is on track to produce over $50 million in fees at an annualized rate. I'm a crypto obsessive, have invested in over 1,000 protocols, and take this game really, really seriously. I love this game. So if you guys are excited to learn from me, I'm going to do my best, and let's dive in. Now, before we get into it, please, if you know an 80s baby, check on them. They're not doing so well. We've had to say goodbye to the Hulkster, Mr. Hulk Hogan, may he rest in peace, and Mr. Black himself. Shout out to the legendary Ozzy Osbourne, rest in peace. Anyway, let's get to degenerately gambling, because that's what we're all here for. I will delay you no longer. Now, first and foremost, let's talk about it, because what we're hoping for, what we're all hoping for, is the big drop of Bitcoin dominance. Now, as you can see, when this happened, the last few times, alts went on an absolute tear. And we haven't seen the big rotation yet, because there's so much hype, there's so much excitement around Bitcoin that people are just assuming this run's going to keep going. So if it does, it's possible that we may see Bitcoin dominance shoot up yet again. But I believe that we are going to see probably the best deals we'll see for the rest of the year at some point in the next few weeks. Again, if we do see some serious weakness, that would be typical of this time of the year. Though July has been especially bullish, more bullish than normal for altcoins. Now, something I think is useful when looking at Bitcoin dominance is to say, okay, when did it top before these like massive moves? When did it top here before going all the way down? That's what we want to know. And what you'll see is that it topped here in January of 21. This was as Bitcoin was exploding up. So it did not top Bitcoin dominance as Bitcoin was falling. It actually topped here as Bitcoin had just recently like doubled up in value, and it really broke out. And so yes, compared to the altcoins, Bitcoin was overvalued. As you can see, something similar happened right here before one of the biggest altcoin explosions ever. And this was in, December of 2017, very, very near the ultimate pico top of Bitcoin that cycle. So what you'll see is that these ultimate tops before the complete collapse of Bitcoin dominance, it tends to happen as Bitcoin is on a rampaging uptrend. So I would like to believe that Bitcoin dominance will once again top as Bitcoin puts in another major move up. And so again, if this happens and it tops as Bitcoin is putting in another major move upwards, then I would imagine that if Bitcoin makes its move up here to, between 140 and 180K, whatever that might be, that I would imagine alts at least hold their US dollar value, if not grow slightly, just not as fast as Bitcoin makes this move. And that would be where, if Bitcoin does put in its ultimate top there, that it would still be sensible to be getting positioned in alts for this late stage of the bull cycle. And so I know if you've been following the Bitcoin dominance train, especially what Ben Cowan talks about, if you're looking for this where Bitcoin ultimately puts in this low, it could happen as Bitcoin is ripping upward, right? And that could mean that even though you get this drop against Bitcoin from the alts, that overall this is effectively the launch pad for them to make their big move up. And so that would not be a time, I think, to get shaken out. Again, if you're already in altcoins, I'm a big altcoin degen. I love altcoins. I've gotten my butt kicked a few times, but overall, it's so profitable to be in the alts as they move, especially if you're really looking for narratives when they happen. And one such narrative was one of the easiest to spot of all and kind of informs some of the other stuff that we'll be doing. The biggest narrative that I think everyone should be paying attention to is actually Ethereum treasury companies. And I've taken a position in BMNR, which is Tom Lee from Fundstrat's new Ethereum treasury company. And I plan to get some SBET. And I'm hoping they actually come down quite a bit over the next few weeks, seeing if there might be some weakness on ETH. As you can see here on ETH has just been, beautiful. You can see it's trying to put in essentially, it's trying to put in new all-time highs, right? It's really above this 4K level. There's not much here. You could see this almost as like not much price action up there. So if it breaks through this 4K level, it's probably just going to go for it, right? It could go for it very, very quickly. But before it does that, maybe it comes down here and it does a little bit of this. I don't know what the timing is. And let me get the final chart up here, but ignore this bottom area, this 2026. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying time-wise. I'm just saying it might put in a little bit of resistance here. And during this time, I want to be loading up on ETH and ETH related things. And so what I'm going to be looking to buy the dip on is things that really benefit from the Ethereum narrative. One of those things in particular has been Pepe. Pepe is kind of like the big Ethereum meme, and it's really considered like an ETH beta. Now, Pepe has been doing pretty well on this move up. You can see its chart doesn't look too dissimilar from Ethereum. Sorry, let me get this out. Where's ETH USD? I don't know why my eyes just can't seem to see the ETH USD. There it is. But yeah, Pepe and ETH USD, they don't look too dissimilar, of course, over the last year. But again, once Pepe breaks through here, the 1400 level or something, it should, again, do really well. I think Pepe is still the biggest meme story of this cycle. But even more direct is MOG. MOG has been very, very reflexive. When ETH goes up, MOG goes way, way, way up. And so when ETH cools off, MOG can see a big cool down. But you can see here, there's been some pretty important levels. Like if it comes down to this, what is this essentially this 1000 level, right? This might be an interesting area to reload. Again, this is also meme stuff, so just know we're gambling hard with this stuff. Again, actually, I should say this on every video because there's a ton of new viewers. If you guys are buying altcoins, specifically meme coins, specifically anything riskier than Bitcoin, just know you are truly in the deep end of gambling, and anything you buy can go to zero. Just because I covered on this channel doesn't mean that it's safe. You are not safe. You are taking high leveraged bets, trying to make high leveraged outcomes, and you need to understand that each and every coin could and many will go to zero. I've been wrong a lot. Like a lot. Just because I get some stuff right, those wins, they dramatically outpace the losses, but there are still punishing losses even this year. So just know, even though I've nailed so many calls, even though I've created some extremely successful protocols and projects, it doesn't mean that I am perfect. And you need to take everything I say and then process it on your own and learn from it. You can't expect, if you're a brand newbie, to get rich. In fact, if you're new in crypto, you can just guarantee this is going to be a learning experience and you're probably going to lose all your money. Very, very few times do newbies come in and make a lot of money. That's just the statistics. Maybe you're the 1 in a million. Again, maybe 1 in 1,000. I don't know what the actual statistics are. The amount of people who come into crypto and just become crazy rich are very small. So make sure that you're factoring in risk and reward. And on that note, let me introduce you to my overall breakdown, right, of types of assets, right? So you have Bitcoin at 25% of your portfolio. I think that's a bare minimum, especially if you're newer to crypto. Put that even higher. I know you think it's too slow to get you rich, but you're going to be happy that you have that Bitcoin because Bitcoin eventually comes back and gets higher. Some of these will not. Ethereum, I'm actually really weighted into Ethereum right now. I think it's the ETH moment. I think it's going to make its move towards that, 7 to 12K and then could get even crazier, right? But at that 7K range, that's where I'd think, okay, it's been a nice run from ETH. Solana is definitely still relevant, although much less relevant, feeling a lot weaker. It's still at 10%. And then you have Hyperliquid at 5%, Coinbase at 5%, Robinhood at 5%. And that kind of gets you a massive amount. The 70% is allocated to non-shitcoins, not crazy stuff, right? And if you do this, then you will most likely not hate yourself during the next bear market because we never know exactly when the bear markets are coming. But stuff like this is way, way better to hold on to than the other stuff, which can just go minus 80% in a week. It's true, it happens. So of the other coins, I have them split 15-15 on attention coins, stuff like memes, stuff like gaming, stuff like hype, rotational coins, and then liquidity coins, stuff like DeFi, DEXs, stuff like borrow land, stuff that is institutional grade finance stuff. And so these are the way I break down my altcoins, and then I try to keep a chunk of cash just for opportunities. So again, this is my liquid, this is 100% of what's allocated, and then I have my cash on top. So all of this you can actually say is more like 75%. At any rate, that is the allocation that I personally try to pursue, and I try to rebalance as it gets out of whack. But just know that this is a way to keep yourself from absolutely hating your life and feeling like crypto is the worst thing ever, is keeping yourself from going all in on that one meme coin. Like you saw that guy on Twitter do. Yeah, maybe it worked out for him, but maybe he's been here 8 years, has gone through his trials and tribulations to get to that point where he made an 8-figure bag off a meme coin. So remain skeptical, remain very, very careful as you go through crypto, especially as things get very exciting, as the YouTubers start getting super popular, as all of a sudden coins are going 0 to infinity real fast. That typically feels like the safe time, but it's actually the most dangerous time to be buying crypto. So be careful. If you want to know the list of coins that I'm holding, that I'm advising, that I have some bias towards, check out my Twitter. I have a full disclosure section publicly listed on my Twitter. Anyway, enough of that boring ass shit. Shut up, Elio, and tell me about the coins. Now, before we get to the really, really good stuff, I want to shout out the partner of this channel, Blowfin, which is of course my #1 destination for shorting and longing crypto. Now, when the time comes and you actually need to short this market because it's going to go down like a lead balloon, which of course will happen, you absolutely need access to an exchange that lets you go short and express both sides of the trade. Now, in the end, if you're not a leverage trader, I'd say stay away. But if you believe you have the stuff, you can get up to $10,000 deposit bonus from using Blowfin, using my link. And it gets even better because, like I've said a few times, I'm going to be giving out 100,000 super tokens, currently worth about 80 grand, but could get significantly higher by the time I actually give this away in Q4 to the best trader on my link by using the link in the description below. Again, I'm going to be creating a nice private group for the best traders on this link to exchange thoughts, to become even better at trading. And I'm really excited for that, to meet some of you who might be exceptional traders in my community. Again, trading is definitely more risky in this fashion. So if you're not familiar with the markets, this is not for you. But if you think you got what it takes, I'd love to get a more one-on-one type relationship with the best traders in my community. As always, shout out to Blowfin for sponsoring, and back to the episode. So if we're looking for pullbacks, I think MOG pulling back to this 1,000 area is really good. And it would still be good even if it gets all the way down here to like this low that was put in right here. This one around the sort of 7 or 6 something range, that's all right. Obviously, I think it's okay to try to target this as well and hope it makes its move off that. But it's still not crazy if it goes below this 1,000 number and makes its way into this green box. Anywhere, I'd find that to be good. Pepe, quite the same setup as MOG, maybe a little weaker than MOG. You can see that probably as long as it stays above these lows, you wouldn't want it to go under these lows right here. You'd want it to stay above like this and this, really this red line. You'd want to see it above that because it only went below that, in April of 2024. It barely even did that on the recent collapse. So you want it to stay ideally above this high, but definitely above these two, right? So this green box would be prime buys. Again, you don't want to see it go below here. That's not ideal, right? I would be cutting my trade or just not really excited about it. Unless Bitcoin was really, really strong, I wouldn't want to see it go there. Anyway, Pangu, I don't know what to say. This is probably the best chart in all of crypto. Again, we talked about a dip back here in June. And I mean, look at this. It's up from that dip. It's up, what is this? Almost 6x from that dip. So again, snooze, you lose on that one. But Pangu is an absolute monster project. I'm excited for it to make a new all-time high eventually and just see how high this thing goes. I personally am very big on Pangu because you have a real project there. It's not just a meme that effectively goes to 0 or is just essentially only as good as a meme can be. You have a real project, and Luca and the team are the best in the business at raising that crazy attention funnel for this type of meme token. I think there's nothing like it, and they're already getting listed on the stock market as an ETF. Really, really bullish on Pangu. I'm also an advisor there. Again, check my disclosures. Then you also have SPX. I mean, this chart is insane as well. Like, made new all-time highs, multi-billions. The Ethereum-based meme coins, obviously with the exception of Pangu, the Ethereum-based meme coin world is crushing it. I actually want to say as well, you guys obviously know about Black Hole. This is just the last 24 hours or so, this reset as the new epoch flipped. But you can see here, it's on track to do $4.5 million or so. about 150K a day in fees. And the TVL is just skyrocketing, which just keeps climbing day after day. So really exciting stuff. This product is having hyper growth. And it's one of the most exciting things I've ever done in my life. But what's really cool here is if you're holding any of these meme coins, you can actually farm black here with nearly 1,000% APR on MOG. You look at Pepe, it has also insane TVL here. Just absolutely crushing it. And so you can farm your meme tokens and earn some black. And we also have SPX listed. So your favorite meme coins are available to trade here on BlackHoldX for insane APYs. And if you're holding those, you can go ahead and bring them over. And you don't even need to go far. You can just go to the bridge here and you can pick, Ethereum mainnet as your starter. And then you go down, find MOG, and there you go. You can just move some MOG coin right over through the bridge. Takes a minute or so, and you could be farming black hole tokens. Just a wee bit of alpha. So that's like the attention coins that are surrounding the Ethereum narrative. Is I think that you're seeing the Ethereum memes pop off, obviously, because they're correlated with ETH. But really, you're going to see ETH come with this whole basket of DeFi, of actual utility tokens. And those utility tokens, I believe, are going to truly appeal to institutional capital. I think the ETH move is one of the most significant things we've seen, and I'm very long on it. I'm buying treasury companies. I've bought a metric ton of ETH, and I've also bought some ETH memes and tons of DeFi. Now let's talk about that DeFi, because what we have here, again, Maker Sky, this is stablecoins DeFi. Again, you can see off the lows here of February, it's up, what is this? It's up almost 2.5x for a project this size is pretty massive. Euler, we talked about this one a while ago. Look at this chart. I mean, it went all the way up here to 17. We started talking about it, I think, well under 10, maybe around $5. It's been an absolute monster move. You can see it's sold off quite a bit. This is another opportunity that I see. Again, Uniswap. This is one that will probably uplist to the stock market. And you can see here from its highs of 2021, you can see it's at $45. And yeah, maybe if it comes back to retest this this breakout level here around, this impulse candle up, I don't know, maybe getting it somewhere in this green box here, that would not be a bad plan if you can get a uni retracement. Pendle has actually retraced quite a bit. To me, it's retraced a little too much. But again, Aerodrome, this is one, another V33 DEX, the same design or similar design, actually not the same as Black Hole. But you can see that it's had a nice little retrace off of some of the bullish news of being integrated into Coinbase and all that stuff. You can see this is a very bullish chart, and you can just see that a chart is bullish with higher highs and higher lows. So if you want to know if a chart is bullish, you want to know that, it goes up and then it comes down less, right? So this is higher than this. And then you can see it goes up and then down, but this is higher than this, and up and down. Essentially you don't want to see it go below this, right? If it goes below this, that is bad. You do not want to see that. But if it stays above this, right, and goes up like that, that is good. So we like that. Okay. Arrow, I love the V33 DEX design. It is one of the best models that we've seen for creating DeFi sustainably, and Arrow's proved it out, and Black Hole has iterated on it, changed it, and turned it into something crazy. Okay. Enough of that. Athena. Oh yeah, Athena, we showed it. We showed this trade setup. We even put the long short on it, and you can see that from the point that we showed it, it is up 74%, but it hit a total of 115%. I think there's a lot more room to run here for Athena. So again, that's the attention bucket. That's the DeFi bucket or the liquidity bucket. Obviously, I'm really obsessed with Black Hole. There's so much going on with the DEX that I can't share with you just yet. But the project's out there. It's working. It's growing like a wildfire. And it's just exciting to see how the levers all push against each other. Now, something that I'm going to predict here is that you'll see over the coming days and weeks that with the return of Ethereum, we're going to finally see a reawakening in the NFT market. And it's going to start with these really important NFTs. In fact, I'm almost 100% sure that it's going to start with CryptoPunks, which are sort of the Bitcoin of NFTs, right? This is the original sort of 10,000 collection. I remember in 2020, at the end of 2020, CryptoPunks started going crazy, and it really foreshadowed what happened in 2021 with this all-out NFT mania that led to Bored Apes and every project under the sun, right? And so if CryptoPunks, which are rumored to be getting a treasury company on the stock market where essentially they're going to raise money, buy punks, raise money, buy punks, I think it's actually a good thing because punks and these NFT collections are so illiquid that it does not take much money to move the price up substantially and to claim that you've seen this massive return on investment. I actually, if I find out about this treasury company, I very well might invest because I think it will print like share price gains really, really easily. It's something that I actually think is going to surprise people. So this is the stockification of crypto. We're starting with the biggest assets. And remember, this is going to be a monster play. Tom Lee and SBET and these Ethereum treasury companies are buying billions and billions of ETH, and ETH does not have the free supply to support this. So I think Ethereum's going to rip. And I think with it, you'll see all kinds of crazy NFTs coming back to life. My then prediction of what happens after that is that lays the fertile ground with Ethereum up, NFTs up. People will look for NFTs that do more than just sit there, that they can actually do stuff with, and that'll bring people full circle to gaming. So a few steps away, but I believe that that's what triggers the next gaming season, with Superverse, of course, being one of the ripest tokens to grab in gaming. My favorite, of course, I'm very biased. But again, it's outperformed every single gaming token since the bottom, and I believe that that won't change because of all the plans that are coming for Superverse. Again, right now, the focus has been mostly on Black and Black Hole and all that. But buried under this is the fact that super holders now have passive DeFi flows, and the revenue generated from the Black Hole ecosystem will support the super token price, as the Superverse Foundation now has passive flows to buy back super tokens. So these things work together. And I believe that when gaming season hits, super season will hit like a truck. So something to consider. It's a few steps away, but something to have on your radar. Now, another thing I want on your radar is that I believe of the alternative L1s, AVAX is really in a great position, which is of course very, very bullish for Black. You see that AVAX more than doubled, almost 3.5x, 240% growth in AVAX's on-chain fee generation this week. And I believe that is almost 100% due to the Black Hole DEX, which what's really interesting about Black Hole is it did not cannibalize TVL from other AVAX DEXs. It brought net new liquidity, net new traders, net new blood into the chain. And believe me, this is being noticed. Everyone is very interested on how one new DEX has brought so much life and attention to the Avalanche chain. And I believe that the Black Hole model is actually going to change the industry in a lot of ways. We'll talk about that more on subsequent episodes, because AVAX is hitting new record transactions, 1.5 million transactions in 24 hours. Again, maybe a coincidence, but I don't think so, that this has everything to do with the Black Hole product. And this is, of course, just on their C chain. They have a network of other chains like the one that Off the Grid is on. Then finally, it's breaking against its BTC resistance. And again, if AVAX is able to break out and start really going for highs, the amount of activity, volume, and excitement on chain is going to exponentially grow. So really, really, really exciting for AVAX, as well as one of my bigger bets going forward. I believe that alt season will be very kind to AVAX. Now, final shout out of the day is this chart Ceros. Now, this is a DEX on Solana. I actually bought into it like several weeks ago, and I've just been seeing it just crush its way up. It's been honestly one of the most impressive tokens. I think that it's pretty overextended, but if it did come back here and actually explored some of this region down here, I would be buying. I don't know if it would. I think that obviously it's showing some, some trend exhaustion, but if it comes down here and starts going below some of these key supports that it's bounced off of, I would try to scoop some up, because it's one of the only exciting new DEX projects that's trying to, change the game over in Solana land. So definitely something to have on your radar. Just an incredible looking chart. And finally, I actually have put out this, I don't know if you guys remember, I put out this crazy tweet where I said, I think my eyes just got, whatever after reading this, because I read about the Pump Fund $1 billion sale, and I just thought it was so horrific, so extractive. And now after seeing how badly Pump has performed, as you can see, this is easily one of the worst performing assets that I have ever seen. And the fact that they had such confidence to raise at a $4 billion value, to take a whole $1 billion out of the community. I knew this was going to be a disaster, but I mean, this is just embarrassing. This is such a bad look for the community. And you can see it's barely even clinging to the top 100 tokens now. It's token number 86. Like, honestly, if this keeps dropping, I just think it's so embarrassing. And it just confirms everything that I said in this tweet, because in the end, I don't criticize projects very often, but hear me now. If you're a project founder, give the tokens to the community. Just give them to the community. Let the token be cheap. Let it start cheap. Let the community decide what the value is. Just create the best project you can and turn the tokens over. Stop playing these games, because now essentially not only have they not completed their airdrop to the community that actually made them valuable, but they're scared to, because they know that the community is just going to insta sell it. It's going to make things way, way worse. So now they have this thing where people are wondering when airdrop, and they know that the airdrop is going to be this huge negative catalyst. And there's just all this overhead. And essentially a meme coin launcher is not a protectable moat. Any project, any DEX can add a meme coin launcher, and probably will, if you smell what I'm stepping in. But the point is that this is not a protectable business model. It's like uploading a picture to the internet. Just because they popped off doesn't mean that they will continue to drive. Again, there was no reason to take this much money unless they felt like their ship was running out of gas, which apparently the market believes it is. So here we are in Q3 of 2025. There is very well possibly some weakness on the horizon, but I believe it is a huge gift. It is a massive gift for you to stock up on more altcoins, crypto, Bitcoin, treasury codes, crypto stocks, the whole 9 yards. I believe we are going to see a rip-roaring alt season and an insane end to this bull run. And I believe it very well might last a pretty significant amount of time, given that these types of buyers that are coming into the altcoin market are institutional. It's TradFi. They don't buy and sell in 45 seconds. They buy, hold, and watch things mature, and then they buy more. So I believe that this funnel could be significantly more durable, and that if we see a rotation of Bitcoin into altcoins, that will be a liquidity sledgehammer like we've never seen before. I'm of course extremely excited by all the success around Black Hole, which was a 9-figure airdrop to the super community and several other communities such as Imposters, Neo Tokyo, and beyond. My message is simple. If you're rolling with me, I'm going to do everything I can to get your back. I'm going to do everything I can to deliver value. And I believe that the way that we're running these projects is a model for others to emulate. And I'm excited to prove that out over the coming days, weeks, and months. Whatever weakness we might be experiencing today or the next day, I think that the future is extremely bright. And the end of 2025 and beginning of 2026 should be one for the history books. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to click on this one popping up right now, as I'm sure you'll love it as well.